No, but Dylan was giving me goddamn preseason WNBA updates. I said, you keep this shit up, I'm blocking your number. And he said, I'll text you from Big Dog's phone. I go, looks like everybody's getting blocked.
I told him, no, I said I was going to text him from Big Dog's phone to make him block Big Dog. That was the point. Because then
I would have blocked his ass.
No, you would not. That's such bullshit.
If you started doing Caitlin Clark, he would have known why I blocked you. He would have accepted it.
All right, we're going to start with the Kentucky Derby here, just because I think it's a good place to start. We had the most exciting 2 minutes in sports this weekend. Mystic Dan wins the Kentucky Derby. He was 11-1, although I cannot believe that West Saratoga didn't win. After watching the guy who had cancer 3 times and was told he had 5 years to live, and the horse closed, at least on my book, at 69-1, which I thought was a fucking sign. Had to bet it. And then you look at his jockey, and his name is Jesus. I mean, if there was ever a lock to win a fucking Kentucky Derby, that was it. The horse he was a gray horse who I believe hasn't won in a long time.
Although Dave always says grays are naturally faster. Faster. They're naturally more gifted, the grays.
Well, this gray was slow as fuck, and he let down Jesus and the black trainer who had cancer 19 times and beat it every time. But it was an exciting finish. We had Mystic Dan winning.
Yeah, Mystic Dan cut the corner, like the announcer said, had a good trip, saved ground on his trip. I would be interested. I haven't seen that. They always break down the stats and there's advanced metrics on all that stuff. I'd like to see how much further Sierra Leone ran. He was easily the best horse in the race. He went I called it 4 wide when I originally talked to you. If you watch tapes, 8 wide around the corner, had to go around all kinds of people and lost by a head bob. So
yeah, it was very close. Probably one of the closest.
Forever Young was there too on the wire. Sierra Leone's the class of that field for sure. I mean, that was I think the most expensive thoroughbred ever in the Kentucky Derby, I believe. I think it was $2.3 million the horse sold for when he was a yearling.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to pay for a horse.
The one who finished third, was he the Japanese-owned horse? Thank God he didn't win. I was definitely rooting. I wanted an American horse to win. Not that there's anything wrong with a foreign horse winning, but we're in America, so root for Americans. Also, right. I don't know that this was Mystic Dan, but if it was, it explains a lot. Like when they trot them by as they're going to the starting gate and they introduce kind of each horse.
Yeah.
And there was one horse, and like I said, I think it was Mystic Dan. He was shitting as he was walking, like just constant shitting. And I think it was actually strategy. Like he forced all the horses behind him to step in the shit, which would make their hooves all sticky and slowed them down. And that must have been why a lot of those horses couldn't catch him at the end, because he was down that stretch in first place. Now, that's no excuse for Fierceness, the favorite, who is the other horse I bet on, who finished fucking 15th in the race, which is ridiculous. He just gave up, on the final stretch.
Yeah, Jockey pulled him off. He had no chance. Yeah, Mystic Dan was, I think you're right. He may have been the one dumping before the race, but my brother picked him. I was watching over at the house with him. He's like, I think that's the first time I've ever picked the Derby, but he was very confident in his pick.
Why did he pick the horse?
The horse actually looked really good on the track and in the paddock. Like, if there's different things you look for. I forget exactly what all they are, but my brother knows them from his days at Sam Houston Racetrack in Houston, watching those shitty horses run. Some of the regulars over there, I'm sure, told him what to look for. But he liked the way he looked. He did look good. The trainer won the Kentucky Oaks the day before, so it's the first time.
It had never happened, right, where they won both.
I think it's the first time in a long time, or it's the first time. Yeah, it's been years, or it's the first time in ever. So right. I'm not too sure, but yeah. Anyway, great weekend for him.
We need to get into thoroughbred racing when we become a big company. So
it's an expensive business.
Well, listen, when it happens, hold on, I'm getting there. Okay, so we need to name our horse for when we do have it. So we need to come up with some names real quick. And when I asked ChatGPT last night at 2 a.m. what I should name my fake racehorse, I told it I wanted to be funny and edgy, and it gave me hoof-hearted. Say it.
Hoof-hearted.
Who farted.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the edgy one. I didn't like that one. I thought it was lame. I said I wanted it to be more inappropriate, and then ChatGPT told me it couldn't do inappropriate things.
Oh.
I guess you have to pay for the inappropriate shit on these AI bullshit apps. But I came up with some other ideas. I thought Usain's Bolt was a good one. Chris Leak's Lightning Strike, because, he claims to be struck by lightning and lived. Forrest Gump, that's not really all that clever. This one I liked. Pony Soprano. How about that one?
That's a good one. Pony Soprano's good.
But
Pony Soprano's good.
Beyonce.
Man, you put some time into this, or either ChatGPT did or
No. Those are all
okay. Those are right from the brain factory.
Brain right here. Now, here's my favorite one, and I may have to cut this. I don't know, but this is from Curb Your Enthusiasm. So let me preface this. But how about this? Horsecock Williams.
That's a good one,
I
too.
Even say it with a straight face.
Horsecock Williams is
That's
good.
Leon's friend who's president of the Big Johnson Club.
The Big Johnson Club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Horsecock Williams.
Big Johnson Club.
That's my favorite name by far.
That's a good one.
You're
putting me on the spot. It would definitely be something named after Big Dog, of course. You got to show your respects. It would be Big Dog, Big Dogs. Yeah, it would have to be something to do with like Big Dog riding the lightning because he got struck by lightning. I don't know. We'd come up with something.
Riding lightning?
Yeah, well, it would be, but Big Dog would have to be mixed in there. I'd have to put some thought into it. But next week, I'll try to come back with some good horse news. Preakness week, we can 2 weeks away. We can come back to the subject.
Rittler.
That's an impressive one.
Or that would not, Nadolf Hitler.
Nadolf Hitler.
How about that one?
Nadolf Hitler would be, that would not get accepted in the Kentucky. When you have to register the horses' names, they would not take that one. I can promise you.
Or we could do this. We could paint our horse blue and name him Walter White. And his slogan would be, I'm 99% pure. He's very purely bred.
Man, you put a lot of thought into this last night.
Hold on.
That's impressive.
To be fair, the Nadolf Hitler one, that one I came up with on the spot.
Well, that one's, I would like to say, I'm not going to say that one's good. It was funny, and it wouldn't be allowed, but it definitely, definitely impressive to come up with that on the spot. There's zero doubt about that. But good race, Preakness. We'll see who all actually enters.
Mystic Dan said they're probably not going to enter.
I would assume they wouldn't. It looked like he was just begging for the line of the Kentucky Derby. The Preakness gets longer, and the Belmont's even longer. And so when you win your grade 1 race to get into the Kentucky Derby, and then you win the Kentucky Derby, if you go to the Preakness and Belmont and just lay an absolute egg, it really costs you in the long run because those horses, the money's made in the breeding of those horses. You can make money
even
on
if
the
you
track.
won the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, because they like to look for holes in your argument on why you want to
so they can pay less.
Yeah, exactly. So if he wins the Kentucky Derby, which don't get me wrong, the stud fees for him will still be high. But if you go to the Belmont or the Preakness and the Preakness and the Belmont, and you really don't think you have a chance to win, you're going to come in 7th and 8th. It just doesn't do you any good. I mean, because
now, if you have a shot at a Triple Crown, you have to go for it.
Of course, but I just don't think they think he does. I mean, if they thought he had any chance at all, like I said, they would put him in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but that race is longer. It's a more physically demanding race, and he gave it everything he could and held on by a nose. Not to mention, he really did. I want to call it the perfect trip, but he got a really good trip. He got impeded for a split second before he turned into the stretch. Because my brother was like, he was screaming. He's like, that horse fucking impeded him. And I was like, got out of it, but it was still a way better trip than Sierra Leone and Forever Young. So,
yeah,
I mean, don't screw it up. Your horse looks really good right now, and he's going to race in other things, of course, but it's
but if
don't rush him back off a 2-week layoff to go in the Preakness, which is a race that doesn't really suit your horse, is what they're thinking, I believe. Yeah.
And if you're not, it's not like he was a big favorite going into this. He was like the 5th or 6th favorite, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll jump into our other stuff. This is the Slobberknocker Sports Podcast. We're on episode 32. We're back every single week. We're shooting and we release on Tuesday. So make sure to tune in, subscribe. Let us know in the comments what we should name our racehorse. Did you like Adolf Hitler? If you did, give that a vote. If you have an original idea, go with that. But let us know in the comments what we should name our racehorse.
Oh, Big Dog just wrote back.
No one cares about Big Dog.
No, but this is interesting tidbit. And I don't know if he revealed what we're doing or what the fuck's going on, but he just wrote, oh, I know what they're going to do. God, this is over. He just wrote back, next week we're filming the San Antonio kicking. They're going to go kick field goals.
Oh, God, he's going to hurt himself legitimately. And by the way, he's going to make you
cut that from the podcast, which is supposed to be a surprise.
It's not getting cut. He 100% maintains that he tore his Achilles, which if you rupture your Achilles, you need complete surgery and ACL. You need complete reconstructive surgery. And, he somehow just healed with no surgery.
He's like Aaron Rodgers. You can overcome anything with just a little hard work, a little determination, a little grit.
Well, even
it's old school mentality. Big Dog, yes, and Big
going
Dog,
to church every week.
Yes, Big Dog does go to church every week. He checks in for about 10 minutes and he leaves.
Wow, just ousted him here.
Oh, actually, no.
You just ousted him here.
Well, I kind of did, but he did say when we were sitting there and he left the church and he came back in 10 minutes, like, dang, man, that was quick. You catch a hymn and come home. He goes, no, he started early this week.
Yeah.
All right, we're in the middle of it.
It's been at 4:30. This one started at 5.
Yeah. So anyway.
He's like, I got there, communion was going.
He catches communion, gets right out of there.
He does the peace be with you where he doesn't touch anybody. He just does the peace. Does the peace, brother. That's actually probably exactly what he says. Peace, brother. Okay. You want to give your best thing you saw this week? We saw it yesterday together.
What was the best thing we saw
Come
this
on,
week?
Dude. What did we watch yesterday? Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah, we were watching real sports, and somehow ESPN News comes on in the Big Dog Entertainment Center, 5 TVs. Let me tell you, wonderful place. Top left TV. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And there's these 2 guys hitting each other with pillows. It was the Pillow Fighting World Championships. I mean, the Ocho's got to stop with this shit. Then they put on...
Whoa, that was entertaining.
It was kind of entertaining.
The first one we watched...
Chocolate Thunder versus Joker, because the Joker had his face painted like the actual Joker. That's pretty funny. It was like WWE wrestling meets pillow fights. It was halfway entertaining, but... Then they showed this stupid, it was called like Octoball or something, and it's like
Omega Ball.
And there's like...
That was dumb.
Yeah. There's like these, it's girls and guys that are like amateur soccer players playing this game where there's like 3 goals and you can score on any goal. It's an absolute clusterfuck. They need to get rid of Omega Ball and Dodgeball and just go strictly Pillow Fight World Championships.
Pillow fighting was entertaining. Also, there was some controversy in the pillow fighting quarterfinal, and we had the Joker versus Chocolate Thunder, and Joker supposedly won, but then the announcer said Chocolate Thunder, and then the guy raised Joker's hand, and Joker starts celebrating across the whole place, and Chocolate Thunder's like, what the fuck, man? You just said Chocolate Thunder. You think this guy's Chocolate Thunder? Obviously not. He's Joker, and he's white. And so ended up, I think they clarified later that Chocolate Thunder actually did win.
He was the rightful winner. Chocolate Thunder moved on.
And so apparently the rules are you have a pillowcase.
You're so uncultured, Bailey. I mean, my God.
I don't
How
know.
do you not know how the fucking Pillow Fight World Championships work?
I don't know if they fill them with bars of soap or if they're actually like feathers, but apparently body shots don't count. You can only hit them in the head for a point, or I think they said in like the feet or something.
The feet in the head.
Feet in the head, and you only play 1 round. So you got to really make use of it. And I will say, there was one guy, he was doing some crazy dodging, and then he was shimmying when he dodged him. It was like the Muhammad Ali of pillow fighting, but heck of a match we saw between Joker and Chocolate Thunder. I enjoyed that. Not sure who ended up winning the championship, but
it's no power slap, but it's not bad. If they put bars of soap in the pillows and, go for knockouts, and they would be a much better sport.
If I thought that's what it was, and they stole it from Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'll, fill this pillowcase with bars of soap and beat the shit out of you. And I thought that like that was what it stemmed from, but I don't know. Okay, real quick, before we get on to the topics of the day, after that great intro, San Antonio Business of the Week, Florios Pizza. I know I probably got to do some like a few non-food ones. I did do First Serve Tennis a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
But Florios Pizza, I was just thinking about it. We ate pizza last night. They're not open on Sundays, so we didn't get it from Florios. But one of the very few places in San Antonio that has kept prices low despite being very popular and very good food, which it is. Like, it's been our favorite pizza place for a long time in San Antonio, at least growing up. And I know there's been some other places to pop up that are good, but it's over on Broadway. They actually have one. I don't know if it's still open. They had one in Helotes as well for a little bit. But still, to this day, and this is when I was in high school, they did the same thing. $5, 2 large slices and a drink lunch special. Can't beat the deal. It's 2 big pieces of pizza up to 1 topping. Phenomenal New York style pizza. Really, really good. You got to eat it there if you've never been there, because it's, first of all, you get the whole New York atmosphere. They're definitely from New York.
Very New York.
Very New York. And, you know, do not ask for ranch on your pizza. I was just about to
say, don't fucking ask for ranch dressing.
If you ask for ranch on your pizza, you're going to come back and say that I should never have recommended that place, because they will be absolute dicks to you if you ask for ranch. They say, no, our pizza's good. You don't need ranch, and they will not give it to you.
They won't even give it to you with a salad, so don't even try. I forgot people that try to do that back in the day. It's like, I'm just going to get a side salad with ranch, dip my pizza, and they're like, we don't have ranch dressing here.
You only get olive oil.
Yeah, you better like Italian dressing. It's the only damn thing they got.
But really good pizza. They've got subs there too, although I've only ever gotten pizza there. And literally, I think a large pizza there is cheaper than you could get at fucking Domino's. And it's 3 times as good. It's very, very good pizza. Go check out Florios on Broadway. Get yourself a lunch special. Best deal in town, no doubt. Okay. Got some topics to talk about, and we'll start with the NBA playoffs, because that has been at the forefront of the sporting world. We had the second round series. I guess that's a good place to start, because it's probably the most popular, best second round series. Nuggets T-Wolves. It's the only series that started. T-Wolves steal game 1 in Denver. Kind of surprising. Denver was a 4.5 point favorite. Anthony Edwards goes for 43 points in 42 minutes. He was phenomenal. 17 of 29 from the field, added 7 rebounds, 3 assists. But their role players really played well. And I don't know if you can call Karl Anthony Towns a role player, but he's not the star of the team, obviously. He was 8 of 13 with 20 points. Mike Conley was 5 of 8 with 14 points. Naz Reid was 7 of 11 with 16 points, including a massive 3 that he fucking banked in late in the game when the game was tied. The Nuggets, Towns, this is crazy. I saw this on ESPN or TNT, wherever the game was, and I went back and looked it up. Towns, Conley, and Naz Reid in the second half combined 17 of 19 from the field, 6 of 6 from 3. That's crazy. So they played out of their mind in the second half. Bad beat of the week, which is a new segment I would like to do, was absolutely the fucking T-Wolves in the first quarter, because they were up 18-4 with like 5.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Nuggets came back and somehow not only won the first quarter, but covered the first quarter spread of -1.5 or -2. They won. I think they led by 2 at the end of the first quarter. Crazy how that even turned. Actually, Nuggets ended up leading at halftime, and T-Wolves came back. But I want to ask you, and we'll talk about this series for a second, what, if you're a Nuggets fan, is your panic meter here from 1 to 10? 1 being, I'm not worried at all, the Nuggets are going to win the series still easily, and 10 being, I'm afraid we might actually lose this series.
Probably like a 6. I mean, a little bit.
You're pretty high in worry level.
Little bit above midway. I mean, but the Nuggets won the ship last year, so it's not like, even if they did lose, it would be okay. But I think that they, and I guess the fan base wouldn't think that, but they, they could easily come back and win the series. Obviously, I think most people expect them to. But if Anthony Edwards keeps playing like this and the surrounding cast, like the thing is, Anthony Edwards was talking about it the other day about Karl Anthony Towns, that when he's in foul trouble, they lose. And he was in foul trouble that game. They still won the game.
Yeah.
Because Edwards just went ballistic. And
he still did play 32 minutes or so.
All right. Well, then I just saw him on the bench in the fourth quarter.
No, he was in foul trouble. He was.
And then Naz Reid made, I think, everything in the fourth quarter. I think he had like 14 points or something.
Yes, he had 2 going into the fourth quarter and 14 in the fourth.
Yeah. So, but I know you, basketball-wise, X's and O's with Gobert, you want the Nuggets to do certain things, play small. I don't know, and you know way more about that than me, that side of the game. T-Wolves do play. It's one of those deals where it's, they're a good defensive team, and we've talked about that. But we've also talked about how these defensive teams up their intensity in the playoffs. So, like, they're a good defensive team in the regular season. They're still getting 50% more on the defensive end, I think, in the playoffs. I think they always play hard. Maybe not 50% more, but regardless, they play pretty good defense.
Yeah, they do. They're very good. They might be the best defensive team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, them and I guess the Knicks, right? I mean, typically, but
that's the two.
And the Knicks just rebound the ball so well. They can't really do shit. It's like Brunson needs to score 45 and they need to get 20 offensive rebounds, but they normally do. So
and they did it in the last series.
So, but I'd say probably a 6 or a 7. I still expect Denver to end up winning the series, but if they somehow lost tonight, they'd be in real trouble.
Yeah, no, tonight's a huge game. Obviously, game 2 tonight in Denver.
Murray was real bad game 1, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, he was real bad game 1. And again, I think that's a good point because I have that on my sheet here. So, he's not played well in the playoffs, contrary to what like people would think if they haven't watched the games and just watch highlights. You would see Murray's hit 2 game winners in the playoffs. He hit a game winner in game 2 against the Lakers and game 5 to close the series out. Game 5, though, was the only game really that he played all that well against the Lakers. And if you've watched him in the playoffs, it's one of 2 things that continues to happen. He either shoots way too much and is incredibly inefficient, or he doesn't do enough. Like in a lot of the series against the Lakers, it felt like he was trying to do too much. And I think maybe he noticed that because then in game 1 against the T-Wolves, I believe he only took 14 shots, which is pretty low for Murray, especially in the playoffs. He had only 17 points. He was 6 of 14 from the field. But like you said, he's been struggling the whole playoffs. He's shooting 29% from 3 in the playoffs, 40% from the field. He's averaging 22.5. That's not like horrible, obviously. Like it's a little bit above what his regular season average is. But the reason they won last year, or one of the main reasons, was Murray stepped up. I think people forget this, and tell me what you think. The whole time this Nuggets team was kind of building and getting older and getting experience, they had a knock going into last playoffs that they could not win in the playoffs in the big game. Like they had been, I believe, to the Western Conference Finals one time going into last year, and they got beat in 4 or 5 games against the Lakers. That was in the bubble. But before that, it was like, well, Murray never gives enough in the playoffs. And Jokic, he's great in the regular season putting up stats, but in the playoffs, it doesn't seem to translate. And then they go on this run last year. But I think people also forget how fortunate they were in that run. So if you look at who they played last year, I just kind of went back and jotted it down, right? Played the T-Wolves in round 1, who were the 8 seed and had to get in via the play-in game. And the T-Wolves, they beat 4-1, and Anthony Edwards was like really fucking good in that series, and there was a couple games that could have gone either way in that series. So they play an 8 seed, right?
I remember a bunch of close games, but nothing more than that.
Right.
Yeah, like a bunch of close games in that one.
Then in the second round, they play the 4 seed Suns. That was the highest seeded team they played in the playoffs, was a 4 seed. They beat the Suns 4-2, won the first 2, lost the second 2 in Phoenix, and then won games 5 and 6. But it's not like they blew the Suns out of the water. That Suns team had just added Kevin Durant late in the year. They were about to fire Monty Williams. They kind of blew it up, got rid of Ayton after that. They were not all that great. That was the best team they played. They then played the 7 seed Lakers, who were the surprise team, got to the Western Conference Finals, swept the Lakers, and then they got the 8 seed out of the East, and the Heat dodged the Celtics, the Bucks, all the good teams. So It's like, They very much got a fortunate run. I think people forget it. Is that fair or is that unfair to the Nuggets? Like, are they legitimately, should they be the favorite to win until somebody knocks them off? Or is that just a fortunate run that maybe that's the only one they're going to win? Because it felt like, I remember thinking this, and I've become a prisoner of the moment I think about it. Because this whole playoffs, in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, the Celtics are the number one team, but I don't trust them. And the Nuggets are proven. They've won a championship. Like, they deserve to be the favorites. Until somebody beats them, I don't believe anybody else can beat them. But thinking back, I remember at the end of last year, right after they won, thinking, man, everybody's talking about how Denver's going to be great for a while and they could repeat. I just don't see them as like a dynasty like that, like the Spurs of the 2000s. Not that they repeated, but that they were that good. The Lakers who went on the three-peat, right? Like, I just never really thought of them that way.
I think the Nuggets, did they beat? So yeah, they took out the Heat, and then this year they're going to have to go through the Yeah, I mean, if they go through the T-Wolves in this series, I mean, you would expect them. I think we originally said something else last episode or the week before, that we were talking about their toughest, opponent. I just think now with the way Anthony Edwards is playing, and a lot of people were, not to say the jury was still out on him, everybody knew how good he was. It was just like, is he ready to be a bona fide all-star and score 40 points a game in an all-star or in a playoff series? I think some people didn't know if that was necessarily true yet, and I think he showed that. So to me, I think that this is, especially being down 1-0, it's easy to say now, but I think if they get through this, they'll handle either the Thunder or the Mavericks. Okay. I do. But as far as the Celtics, they're without Porzingis now, right? For the rest of the playoffs, or no?
Oh, I thought he was coming back. Is he out?
I thought they were acting like he was out. I don't know. I just saw he was out for the Heat series. They were acting like he was out. I don't know.
It says it remains Kristaps Porzingis remains optimistic, but not super close to returning from calf injuries. I don't think he's done for the playoffs.
Okay.
But I think maybe he won't play this series. Also, it's like, okay, they're playing the Cavs this series, which we'll touch on it anyway, but I don't think they have much of a shot to win the series the Cavs I'm talking about. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess Murray, just the thing about him is he's been very, very clutch the last postseason and this one with the game
winners. Has. Credit to him.
So I guess that's why everybody, he gets the hype. But yeah, looking at the stats here, game 2 against LA, 37%. Game 3, 38%. Game 5 or game 4, 39%. And then game 5, he shot 47%. He shot in the 40s only 2 of the 6 games he's played, and he's not shot over 47%. And they say he's dealing with what? Some kind of injury, because he's listed as a game time decision. Obviously he's going to play.
He moves just fine. Like, you don't see him limping, you don't see him hindered. I don't think that has anything to do. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think he's just been, look, the guy's been inefficient a lot of his career. He takes tough shots. That's what he's always been known for. And in last playoffs, he took tough shots and he made them, to his credit. Now, I also will say, from an X's and O's standpoint, I don't want to get too in-depth on this, but the Nuggets last year ran a lot more sets and had a much more flowing offense. It really feels like they get stagnant at times, and it just becomes the Murray show or the Jokic show. Now, Jokic will dish it, obviously, but I don't think they're running the same offense. It doesn't feel like they have the same flow as last year. On that same point, I do want to bring up 2 things. One you already mentioned, which is the Rudy Gobert issue. And I do agree with you. Like, watching this T-Wolves team, they're hot right now. They've got a ton of confidence. And if they win tonight, they're going to win this series, and they're probably... I do think the Mavericks have a shot still. So I don't think the Thunder would beat the T-Wolves. I actually already bet the Mavericks to win that series at +1 on 115 or whatever I got.
No, I think either one of those teams has a chance against the T-Wolves. I just don't think either of those teams, if the Nuggets did get through it, because would the Nuggets have home court or would OKC have home court?
OKC would have home court.
I don't know. We'll see. I
actually think the Mavericks have a better shot to beat Denver than...
Who knows? I mean, obviously SGA's been great.
But on the Gobert point real quick, I said this in round 1. Remember, I've said this the last 3 weeks on the podcast, okay? It's no secret that Rudy Gobert is not good in the playoffs. Why? Because in the regular season, you don't scheme for a guy like that and change your lineup. But in the playoffs, you do. You can do that in a series. Like, that happens in the playoffs. And so in Rudy Gobert's career, 9 years, He's missed the playoffs 2 times. He's been to the playoffs 7 times. In those 7 years, he's never been to a conference finals. He's lost in the first round 4 times. He's lost in the second round 3 times. The 3 times he's played in the second round, they've never even gone 7. They've gotten swept, lost in 5, lost in 6. So they've never been close. You know, he was obviously on Utah for a while. Now he's on the T-Wolves. Never been close to getting to a conference finals. This is their best shot. Well, if you look at a lot of the times when they lose, what happens? The teams go small and they force Gobert to extend out. And I said in the first round, the Suns will have a legitimate chance to win this series, and I'll pick the Suns to win this series if Frank Vogel goes small. I don't know if he will. He waited till the final game where he's basically forced to do it. They had the most offensive success they'd had all series. It was too little too late. In this series versus the Nuggets, I thought naturally it would happen because Jokic would get matched up on Gobert when they took Aaron Gordon out of the game. The problem is Mike Malone, which I cannot believe, refused to do that. He played Aaron Gordon almost every minute that Gobert was in the game. Aaron Gordon is a 29% three-point shooter. He's a 10% three-point shooter in the playoffs. He's made 1 3 the entire playoffs. And so what have they done? They put Gobert on Aaron Gordon, stick Gobert in the paint, and say, if you want to beat us making threes from the corner with Aaron Gordon, be my guest. And he can't do it. He doesn't even shoot him. He didn't take a 3, or he took 1 3 late in the game. He made only dunks. And if you're Mike Malone, to me, this is legitimately the series, because I think if he doesn't make this adjustment, I actually think the Nuggets will lose this series. When Gobert is in the game, you go with Christian Brown, or I think Christian Brown, but you could go with, I guess, Reggie Jackson. I think Reggie Jackson's too small defensively. So you go with Christian Brown. I would start Christian Brown, legitimately. And he's been really good. He was good off the bench in game 1. But he is a much better shooter, and you have to respect him out there. You can't... Basically, what that forces you to do is it puts Gobert on Jokic. And Jokic, even though he's not the best three-point shooter, you can't leave him out there. If he's able to set his feet and step into a wide-open 3, he's going to knock it down. So it would force the T-Wolves essentially to do one of 3 things, which is A, go zone, B, take Gobert out of the game, or C, keep Gobert in, stay in man, and give up wide-open 3s to guys all game long, which is what has happened in the playoffs in previous years. So I think that is what this series comes down to. And I also want to mention one more thing, which is I do think the Nuggets have a very different team this year in terms of a lack of depth. Last year, people forget. You remember Bruce Brown?
Yeah, Bruce Brown was there.
He was huge, man, and he's gone. And so it was Bruce Brown. They also had Jeff Green, and Jeff Green had some big games for them. They also still had Reggie Jackson and Christian Brown. So they had 9 guys who played in finals games, right? This year, they really have 7 guys. They just lost Bruce Brown and lost Jeff Green, and the 2 guys they play are like Peyton Watson, and they have one Justin Holiday, and neither of those guys are very good, and they barely played last game. So I think that's an issue too for the Nuggets going forward and in this series. So I don't know. That's my take on the series. I really believe that's what it comes down to, and I think the team that decides to make Gobert come out will render him ineffective, and it'll put the T-Wolves in a really tough spot, and that's why I've never believed the T-Wolves have a shot to win. Also, I didn't think Anthony Edwards was going to do this in the playoffs. I think he's a phenomenal player, but you don't expect a 22-year-old to drop, 36 a game in the playoffs in his 4th or 3rd year. So
he's awesome.
He's incredible. All right. We'll touch on, since we already talked about it a little bit, but let's go. We'll stick in the Western Conference. Mavericks, Thunder. I told you I already bet on the Mavericks. The series is basically a pick 'em. It's gotten down. I think the Thunder are minus 115 to win the series. Mavs are plus 105. We have Game 1 tomorrow in OKC. OKC obviously has home court. That could play a huge role given how big home court advantage is for the Thunder. Do you think...
Here's some bad news for the Mavs.
What?
Max Kleber, not that he's
Maxi
like a
Kleber.
star. Yeah, Maxi Kleber. Out for the playoffs.
Yeah, he dislocated his shoulder.
Oh, rub some dirt on it. Get out there and play.
Pop it back in.
Probably rough for a shooting motion.
Yeah, but they are going to probably get Tim Hardaway Jr. back.
Oh, that would be good. I mean, that would be much better than having Maxi Kleber.
It's an addition. What they had in round 1, which they beat the Clippers, right? Like, yeah, it's an upgrade because they didn't have him basically the entire series. Now, I do think obviously the Mavs beat the Clippers. Kawhi didn't play in 4 of the 6 games. The games he did play, they were arguably worse. And so super disappointing for the Clippers. They're going to have to blow that up. But do you think, in my opinion, the Mavs were more impressive, despite the fact that Kawhi was out? The Mavs' first-round series was much more impressive. I know the Thunder swept the Pelicans. Game 1 very easily could have gone to the Pelicans. Probably should have. Game 4 very easily could have gone to the Pelicans. That team is awful. I mean, you take off the best player on that team, Zion Williamson, and you have who? Fucking CJ McCollum, the biggest playoff choker in NBA history, and Brandon Ingram, who basically gave up on the series because Lou Dort was playing physical defense on him.
Like Valanciunas still there?
Oh, I forgot about this. Valanciunas is still there. Have you ever noticed this? Dude, when you see a close-up of Valanciunas shooting a free throw, that is fucking Travis Kelce's clone playing basketball. That is Travis Kelce.
They look that much alike?
I got to put up the side-by-side. They look, at least him with the beard right now, they look identical. They're like
funny.
Identical twins. It's literally, that is Travis Kelce playing basketball. It's exactly like him. Valanciunas sucks, by the way. But
oh, please.
He did start, I think like game 2, he scored like the first 11 points of the game for the Pelicans. If you bet his over in that series on player props,
you made some money. Bro.
Well,
no, their team's not very good without Zion, obviously.
Well, yeah, but do you think? What do you think of this series? I guess. Do you think the Mavericks should be the favorite here?
I think it's about right. I mean, I think a pick'em's about right, just because OKC has home court, and we've seen what their home court looks like. I mean, that place was going fucking bananas the first couple games.
Fun environment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mavs ultimately probably win a close series, just because they got Luka. But I mean, I guess the other, as we know, as me following the NBA, I don't watch much NBA. I know SGA's had a great year. And I know people will be like, oh, he's just as good as Luka, whatever. I don't think so. I think Luka's better. But with the Thunder having home court, I think it makes it kind of a 50-50 series, but I'll go with Luka and the Mavs. That's what I would say.
Okay.
But I mean, other than that, I don't have many thoughts about it. You can break it down way better than me.
Well,
I mean, that's my 2 cents there. I trust Luka more than I trust those young guys.
Well, we watched most of the Mavs Clippers series together. It's not like you didn't watch the series. So, I thought one thing that was impressive to me was I was surprised how good Kyrie Irving played, because watching how the Mavs were last year and the fact that I thought if it was going to work, they were going to have a phenomenal year this year, and they didn't. They were good, not great. They barely dodged the play-in game. Right? They finished 5th, and it wasn't like those, 5th and 7th were all that separated in the standings. So I wasn't all that impressed, but the Mavericks looked really good in the first round, and I think a big part of it was Uncle Drew came out. And Kyrie was great, specifically in the second halves of games. He started slow in a lot of those games. Now, I don't think he can start slow in a lot of these games because Thunder are fully healthy and they don't have their best player, leading scorer, not playing. So it's a little bit easier to come back in a series like that. I also think the Thunder home court compared to the Clippers home court is a big fucking difference. So yes, I do think the Thunder have a shot here, but it just feels to me like this is the ceiling for the Thunder, and I've underestimated them. I didn't think they were going to sweep the Pelicans, even though I didn't think the Pelicans were worth a shit. I thought that they would get at least one game. So that is impressive that a young team was able to pull off a sweep. I will say, it's so fucking annoying watching them after they win a game where they all go over and do the interview together. Like, it was kind of fun the first time they did it, and they keep doing it, and Chet Holmgren grabs the mic and says, I think SGA is the MVP, and he won't say it, but I'm going to say it. What a pro wants, what a pro needs.
Don't mention the name fucking Chet Holmgren around me.
By the way, we're going to bring this up until they fucking cancel that commercial. Every week we're going to bring it up. That's the worst commercial ever. It makes people want to jump off a fucking bridge. I will never, ever buy an AT&T product again because of that commercial. It's disgusting. It makes me puke. I have nightmares about it. And it needs to be removed from the entire internet, not just from the TV airways, from cable, from YouTube TV. It needs to be erased off the face of the earth, right? Like scorched earth. That's what needs to happen.
I can't get my thoughts on it. It'll be taken offline if I say what I want to say about that commercial.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good point,
That's a
Bailey.
good point,
We need the
Bailey.
Men in Black thing to take it and make everybody forget that it ever existed.
So fucking horrible.
It's so bad. But
And it comes on like you're watching. Okay, I'll act like I watch the NBA playoffs. Sometimes I do with you. So
you are
sometimes,
such a liar. You watched all the play games.
Sometimes I do. And that commercial comes on twice a quarter. And then even when I'm trying to watch hockey, a great game, the hockey playoffs, which are fantastic.
The fact
I have
that
to
you
watch that 2 times a fucking period. And I'm like, I get these fuckers off the TV screen, man. It's just ridiculous.
The fact that
There's no hockey players that ever, AT&T would be like, hey, we want you to do this. They'd be like, no, fuck you. We're not doing that. You know why? Because you get your fucking ass kicked every period for that commercial. And people would be chirping you, cross-checking you into the boards, hitting you in the face for that commercial. They police their own in hockey. In the NBA, they can't do that. They might talk a little shit. You can't get hit in the face in between a face-off and not even get a penalty for it. Like if the refs knew that 2 NHL guys had that commercial and, there's a little extra after the goal and you hit someone with a right hand, they're not sending them to the box. They say you fucking deserve that for that commercial. They would tell you that on the ice, too.
Do you think that the NBA players chirp them for that? Do you think they're like,
dude, they
hey,
have
what a pro wants, bitch?
They have to. I mean, it's just so bad that they have to.
I would be so embarrassed. I mean, just shooting it. I mean, you have to be like, are we really doing this? Are we actually
Those
doing
guys
this?
definitely thought that was cool that they shot that.
I have a hard time believing SGA thought it was cool. Chet Holmgren 100% thought it was cool. Chet Holmgren thought he was a badass for doing it. And he was like excited for the premiere of the commercial and didn't realize what was about to happen, which is he's going to become the biggest joke of the NBA.
It's just terrible.
Okay.
There's nothing else to say.
Horrible. I'm going to pick the Mavs in this series. I think they're going to win in 6. I think they're going to steal one of the first 2 games. They'll hold serve at home. OKC will win game 5 in Oklahoma City to force it to 6. And the Mavs will close it out in game 6, kind of similar to how the Clippers series went. Not the same because they went to game 5 tied. But regardless, I do think the Mavericks are going to win this series. I actually bet them. That's the only series I bet. I did it because of the price. Regardless, I'm getting plus money, even if it was only plus 115. I'm getting plus money in a series that I believe the Mavs should be slightly favored in. So from a probability standpoint, that's why I took the Mavericks. I think they're going to win. I think Luka's the best player on the floor. Kyrie's been playing well. I've been impressed with the Mavericks' defense. They have not been a good defensive team all year, and it just shows you, like you talk about in the playoffs, you've mentioned this multiple times, it's effort, and they're playing with a lot more effort. I don't think Jason Kidd has much of a brain, if any, but you don't really have to when you have Luka and Kyrie. They don't really do much other than just, step back threes, attack the basket, and kick it out.
Most of these NBA coaches don't fucking do anything.
No, they don't. And so we'll move on to the East then. Let's talk about, real quick, there was a Game 7 yesterday. I know we mentioned it, the Cavs Magic. I know you didn't watch Game 7 based on your reaction right there. When I said Game 7, you looked at me like,
well, we watched the, when I asked you what you were watching today, and you're like, Game 7's on right now. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like the Magic and Cavs. I'm like, oh, well, yeah. There's a reason I don't know that's on right now, because it's been
Missed that one.
All 6 games before have been on NBA TV because the ratings are so good for that series. Talk about, I mean, I get that it was a good series. I get that it went 7 games. Talk about a series no one gives a shit about except those 2 fan bases. Cleveland versus Orlando. No one fucking cares. Congratulations to the Cavs for getting out of it. They're going to lose in 4 or 5 games to the Celtics. Probably 4. The Cavs suck. Darius Garland, I watched him miss like 15 fucking threes in a row, Bailey. He's fucking garbage. The pride of Vanderbilt.
Darius Garland was real bad at the end of that series. He only averaged 15 points a game. He's supposed to be the second option. But I do want to touch on this quickly because I think there's an important point to bring up here.
Let's hear it.
Yes, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Now, Cavs win in 7. You did call this. The home team won every game in this series. You called it after. Now, you called it after game 2.
Yep.
But still good.
Actually, I think maybe give me too many credit. I think I called it after game 3. I think the Magic won by like in the middle of game 3. The Magic were winning by like 30 points.
That's right.
This is a series that every single home team is going to win.
That's right. You did say that. And I proceeded to bet it that way, thankfully.
There you go.
So concluding with me taking the Cavs money line when they were down to 18 at like plus 350 and then getting them again at halftime when I watched Paolo Banchero who, by the way, this is a true thing. I watched him at halftime, and he had 24 in the first half. Couldn't fucking breathe doing his halftime interview. And I looked up, it caught my eye. I was like, man, I need to put a little bit of extra money on this. He looked like he didn't understand. Like, he was so hyped up that it was a game 7, and he went out and just did everything he could in the first half because he ran out of gas. He was like 4 of 14 in the second half. The first half, he was 10 of 10 from the free throw line. The second half, he was 5 of 8. He cooled off completely. By the way, Mo Wagner is the most annoying player in the NBA. Number 21 for the Magic. If you don't know who he is, understandable. Look him up and just look up his the series antics. I mean, he'll foul somebody and run down the court pumping the crowd up. I mean, he's an absolute psychopath. I honestly believe that in a couple years, when he's out of the league, you'll see a headline that says, Mo Wagner arrested in Las Vegas for possession of methamphetamine. That is legitimately what I believe. I actually tweeted that out so that I have it on record when it happens. I can go back to that tweet and say, see, I proved this. Now, Magic lose the game. Cavs come through big. Who came through the biggest? Donovan Mitchell. 39 points in Game 7. Third most in a Game 7 in Cleveland Cavaliers history. Had 50 in Game 6. And the only reason I want to bring him up, I agree. Series, don't really care, right? But I do want to bring him up because I think he would be a phenomenal fit for the San Antonio Spurs. He has a player option at the end of this year. Now, do I think realistically a guy who's 28, or I believe he's 28, who's in his 8th year in the NBA, do I think he's going to go to a team who has 19 wins the previous year? I don't know. But I do believe that it would be a phenomenal fit. He's a high character guy. No tattoos, right? Doesn't talk shit.
Wow.
Never hear him curse.
Bailey, is that the most judgy thing you've ever heard in your life? My God. Are we judging people for tattoos now?
No, I never said I was judging people. I just said
smokes.
High character guy, and he has no tattoos.
This podcast has reached a new low. I know. Sounds like something some 108-year-old grandpa would say.
Listen, I'm not saying get off my lawn here, okay? All I'm saying is Donovan Mitchell, very high character. I just said he doesn't curse, but he actually did say shit in the postgame interview.
Yeah,
and they had to mute him out.
Excuse my language. I'm like, oh, that's not how the network television works, buddy. You can't do that.
It is. You can say with all due respect, and you can say whatever the fuck you want. That's how it works. With all due respect, fuck you. Yeah. That's fine. You can say that. But Mitchell was great, and I really like Donovan Mitchell. And when I thought about this, I was thinking, is he really been that good lately? Because you don't really think about him. And you said this when we were watching the end of the game together, and I brought this point up. It's like, has he really been that good lately? Or, have we just forgotten about him because he's in Cleveland? And that's absolutely what's happened. He's averaged 26 or more in his last 5 seasons, right? He's been an all-star basically his entire career. He's never averaged less than 21 points a game. And that was his rookie year. I just think that would be a perfect fit. I do think the Knicks could go after him because I think they're going to dump Julius Randle, find a place to trade him to, who will take his contract, because he's been good in the regular season enough to, I think, somebody to take him who's like a franchise who wants to sell tickets while they're tanking. But if the Knicks knew what was good for them, they will drop Randle. I think that would be a place he would go. I think he wants to be out of the place where it's like he's been in Utah, now he goes to Cleveland. Maybe he doesn't want to go to San Antonio. It's like the small market teams. But I just think that would be a way better fit than Trae Young, who I think would be a dumpster fire in San Antonio. You agree with that?
I think Donovan Mitchell's a better overall for what we're looking
obviously
for what we're looking for, yeah. I mean,
Trae Young fucking blows.
No,
he's fucking horrible.
Oh my God, how the disrespect to Ice Trae is just...
Why would you ever want that guy?
Ice Trae probably has a tattoo, Bailey. That's why Dylan doesn't like him.
I actually don't think he has any tattoos, but he's a little curly head fuck.
Tattoo police over here. I don't know if he has one, but I'll look into it.
Does he have tattoos? I have no idea.
I have no idea either. But
Ice Trae.
Donovan Mitchell, to me, I actually think he would end up coming to San Antonio. To me, as long as he's getting paid, he doesn't really seem like a guy to me that's that worried about winning championships. I guess my theory with him is this. I mean, I'm sure he wants to win a championship. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he's 28 years old. At this point, he's thinking, okay, well, maybe I get one. Does that help his legacy that better if he goes and teams up with like 3 really good players and wins a championship? I don't think so. I think that argument is there's so many people building these super teams these days, and or like they tried to do it in Phoenix and like the Warriors did.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked at all lately.
I agree, but that's what I'm trying to say is like you can go do that and it probably still won't work out, right? Or you can play with the best young talent in the league, and you figure if Donovan Mitchell comes here within the next year, we're going to get another borderline all-star vet that comes down here and tries to make a super team. And I think that's the obvious thing that's going to happen.
But I think there is something to the fact that, like, if we go get a guy like Mitchell, it's not like necessarily that we're building a super team. We're going to get another young star who already is away from the first place he was in, which is Utah. It's not like this guy is just like trying to jump ship off a losing franchise to go to, a place where he can win a championship. He's coming here to build from a young group to win. I'm 1 year off. He's 27. He'll be 28 at the start of next season.
Yeah, I think the move makes sense. I mean, I think he would do it, is what I'm saying. Yeah,
and we can afford him. I mean, look, who do we have to pay? I mean, everybody is on the chopping block, according to my Spurs insider.
Some crazy lunatic the other day told me, I don't even know if he was drinking, that we should build around Trey Jones. Forgot who it was. It was some rando. It was some rando at a cigar shop. He goes, what we really need to do is we got to build, we need to keep Trey Jones, build around him. I go, huh? And even this old guy that knew nothing about basketball goes, no, that's not a guy you build around. If you want to keep him or something as a second string point guard, that's fine, I guess, but you certainly don't build around him. And he got mad because we were borderline laughing. I go, dude, I'm not laughing at you, but I was like, I think he was drinking. I was like, I think you've had too many of those. You don't build around Trey Jones. He's, if you want to keep him as a character guy that comes off the bench and plays hard, it's fine, but you don't build around him.
I mean, I don't even see him as a guy who comes off the bench. He's Patty Mills, before Patty Mills started playing for the Spurs, waving the towel on the bench saying, good job, guys.
Show some respect to Patty Mills.
No, right? I love Patty Mills. I'm just saying before he
came in for the Heat, he's banging threes.
No, he was phenomenal in that
down
series.
30,
what I'm saying is before Pop wised up and threw him in the lineup in that finals in 2013, which should have happened way earlier, I'm just saying before that, he was a guy who on the bench was just, he was bench mafia. That's who he was. He was bench mafia. That's what Trey Jones legitimately should be. So,
and funny enough, I wasn't even talking about the series when he actually played for the Spurs. I was talking about the series last week when they're down 30 points and Patty Mills would come into the game for the Heat and start banging threes.
Oh, I was talking about back in 2014.
I know. That's why I was like, no, not when he was actually good. I'm talking about now. I said the Heat should have had him in the whole game. Would have given at least someone that could kind of score. What did they score? 12 points a couple quarters? It was like, good
pretty
Lord.
Bad. Okay, real quick, just because I have to touch on it, and I know you said this already. Do the Cavs get a game in this series against the Celtics?
It's 50-50 they get a game.
50-50 they get a game?
No. They're either getting swept or a game.
I think they're bad enough to get swept. I mean, dude, watching them in that Magic series, it's worse almost than the Knicks with Brunson in terms of what they have around them, because at least the Knicks have DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, who I don't think are phenomenal, but they at least can score. I'm not trying to shit on Bailey's guy, but Darius Garland is a pretty horrible. I'm talking here and you're playing something loud. Come on, man. Touch bar up there. Mute it. Let's go, man. What are you doing? Is this fucking amateur hour?
Goddamn apples. I'll tell you what.
Hold on.
I like those 1920 Microsoft the ones we used to do PowerPoint on in elementary school.
The fucking ones we used to do Type to Learn, which by the way, quick story, Type to Learn, which was
that's
a 25.
That's why Dylan's a savant on the keyboard.
I can type 127 words per minute roughly, but back in 8th grade, this legitimate true story. I'm gonna call out Patrick Fleming, who was one of my good buddies growing up.
Oh, Patrick.
Patrick and I were competing for the Type to Learn championship. Who could finish first? There were 25 levels you had to advance. You were only allowed to do Type to Learn in computer class, and I was a full fucking level ahead of him. I had one level left. He was on 20. He had finished 23. I had finished 24, and I was gonna fucking win. It was a foregone conclusion, right? It's like there's 20 seconds on the clock. You're up 10. You're dribbling the clock out, right? Well, apparently in that situation, he had like a remote from the fucking movie Click where you just pause time and go score, 5 buckets in a row to win the game. Because we were in history class, or actually, you know what? I think it was worse. I think we were in fucking religion class because we went to Catholic school. We're in religion class, and he's like, Miss Convertino, can I use the restroom? And then he goes into the fucking computer lab and asks Miss Moore if he can use the computer to print something out. Goes in there and fucking finishes level 24 and 25 to beat me. And then she crowned him the fucking Type to Learn champion the next class period, despite him cheating. Actually, I think he played it to where he had like one last thing to do, so it looked like he finished it in class when we came back in.
Patrick's crafty. Give him credit. Listen, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That was a crafty move by Patrick, and you should have thought of it sooner. You should have known that Patrick Fleming would have done something like that.
I have integrity, and I would never, ever do that. I never root for anyone to get injured.
Yeah,
I don't want to win by cheating. Yeah. I want to win fair and square. I would never, ever cheat. That. Yeah.
The reigning fantasy football champion, didn't he?
I want to jump off a fucking building. He has as many championships as I do now, which is 1. Make the playoffs every fucking year, never can win. I fucking hate this stupid league. Anyway, back to this. I do think the Cavs get 1 game, more because the Celtics are just super inconsistent and like I don't trust them whatsoever. They were super unimpressive in the first series, if I have to be honest, right? Like, I know they beat the Heat 4-1, but that was like Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and like a G League team out there, and they fucking won a game at Boston. I know it took a historic shooting performance, but I just do not buy that the Celtics are a great team until I see them win a championship. And also, Joe Mazzulla, talk about
fucking genius.
Talk about coaches without a fucking brain. I mean, dear Lord.
He was losing his mind the other night. They're up like 20 points, and he had like all the starters in. It was bizarre. They were up 20. He had like, maybe it was like 17 with a minute, 20 left.
He's a moron.
And everybody's like, normally checking their starters out. Like the Heat missed. They grabbed the rebound, and he's got his hands up like, slow it down. Like they're going to go run down there. Like these are professionals. Like they're going to go down there and heave a 3. These are the starters. And I'm like, Joe, man, you're up 17. They go down there. They turn it over 15 times in a row. The game's over. Like, just relax. It's just like, I don't know. He seems to be pretty uptight these playoffs. We'll see how he holds up. Oh, this is the big doozy of a series we're talking about next. Indiana, New York. We're on a time here today. And I'm going to go right on the limb right now. I'm going to get us started on this series.
Wait, hold on. Real quick. I'll let you go. Hold on. Keep the thought. We have till 12:30 to finish this podcast.
Oh, that's plenty of time.
Before we get ridden off. So our goal here, we're going to finish this one in the next 13 minutes. We probably won't even go 13 minutes. That leaves us hopefully let's go 5 to 7 minutes on this series, and then we're done, and then we're going to
I'm going to talk 20 seconds. You got the next 5 minutes, so.
What is this fucking guy? I mean, I carry this podcast.
Yeah, you do, every day.
Greg Jennings
especially
broke his fucking leg.
Yeah, listen, you're going to carry, anytime we're talking about the NBA, buddy, it's all you. Pacers, Dylan's going to hate this. He's a Knicks guy.
Don't you dare.
He likes how hard the Knicks played. Tom Thibodeau over there, fucking loser. Jalen, let me tell you something. If Brunson doesn't score 40 fucking points and the Knicks don't get 30 boards, they're going to fucking lose. Miles Turner's the difference. The Pacers in 6. Fuck the Knicks. Fuck the city of New York. Pacers.
Wow. Well,
there you go. That was 30 seconds.
That's
all you need. Miles Turner carries the team.
Kind of speechless here. Miles Turner? I mean, that's...
And did you see what he did the series before?
Did you see what he did the last couple games? Fucking nothing.
I don't care. He's going to carry him this series. The 2 games I saw him play made fucking everything. Look at the stats. The game I watched, maybe the only game of the series, I think he was like 6-8 from 3. So, Miles Turner, role player.
Yeah, the first 3 games, he had 22, 29, 29.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Then he went 13 in game 4, and he had 5 in game 5.
Perfect. They didn't need him. They're beating the shit out of him. He was probably on the bench.
That's game 5 and 6. I don't know what he did in game 1.
Anyway.
I skipped game 1 there.
Miles Turner, big series. Knicks suck. Go ahead.
17, 22, 29, 29, 13, 5. Yeah. It was 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3.
They were up 43 points.
Not that game, were they?
Yes, they killed them.
They won by 20. No, they won by 22. They didn't fucking kill them. Maybe at the end they did.
22.
Okay. Now.
Why does it say that Halliburton's a game time decision?
Because he has back spasms, because he's a fucking bitch. And that leads me perfectly into my point, which is These motherfuckers paid Tyrese Halliburton
Great player.
$52 fucking million a year. $52 million to be worse in the playoffs than the regular season. To be worse in the playoffs than the regular season. He averaged 20 points a game, which is crazy for a guy who gets fucking $52 million. And by the way, when I say anything on Twitter, Pacers fans who are insufferable lose their fucking mind.
I love you, Pacers fans. Pacer Nation. Let's do it. Let's do it. Fuck the Knicks. Go Pacers.
Me, who watches every minute of every basketball game, and they're like, you're a box score watcher. All you look at is points. I'm like, all you look at is fucking assists. Oh, you had 11 assists. Throwing the ball to fucking Miles Turner and making a 40-footer. Congratulations. That's all he does. He gets a couple flashy passes a game. That's all anybody sees. This guy has been down in every statistical category that he has in the playoffs. Shooting percentage, three-point percentage, shooting under 30% from the three-point line, shooting under 40% from the field, averaging 16 points a game, 4 points less than the regular season, averaging a full assist less in the postseason than the regular season. He's not playing hurt.
Grit and
he was
determination.
not hurt. No. He's a bum, and
Grit
I'm so
and determination.
annoyed. Like, he's not even the best player on his own team. You could argue, legitimately, you can make an argument, he's the third best player. You could say Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner are legitimately more consistent, better players. That is a legitimate argument you could have. In the playoffs, 100% they've been better. And so, to me, the idea, and then he makes one bullshit lucky game winner after going 1 of 13 from 3 in the game, including a fucking possession where he missed 4 threes on one possession. That has to be an NBA record. There were 3 offensive rebounds, and he missed 4 consecutive shots. No way that's ever happened before. Regardless, I'm tired of Tyrese Halliburton, and this series is easily going to the Knicks. Now, and to back that up, the odds on this series, the Knicks are the biggest favorite in the second round. So, they're minus 275 to win the series. The Pacers are plus 220. Actually, according to ESPN bet,
this is a six-game series. Pacers win.
You're delusional. The
6-game series. Stand up, Indiana. Stand up. Look at Bailey. He's nodding. He's a Vanderbilt fan. He knows winners when he sees one. Yeah, balling.
Did Aaron Nesmith go to Vanderbilt?
Oh, yeah. Even better. Dominant.
He's not shot the ball well.
Oh, my God. Please. He's like, what, Bailey? 6 in the NBA?
In the regular season, yeah. Playoffs, he's been horrible. Now,
God, the Knicks are so
the most likely outcome, according to ESPN bet, the most likely outcome, according to ESPN bet, if I can fucking finish, is the Knicks to win in fucking 5 games. 5. Okay? That's the most likely outcome. Probability-wise. Numbers-wise.
Go ahead and bet that.
The reason is, no, I'm not going to bet that. I don't need to.
See how it works out.
I think if it's plus 300 or better, I will take it. Now, I do think this is important. The Knicks have some injuries. We know Julius Randle. Hold on. We know Julius Randle is out for the season. I'm not saying Julius Randle is good. I actually think the Knicks are better without him, but he hurts their lack of depth. Then you look at it, Bojan Bogdanovic, who averages double figures for them, is out for the playoffs. He went out in the middle of the series, and they lost him. That is a key loss because they are essentially down to a rotation of 7 dudes. That's literally all that. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo,
listen,
OG Anunoby.
We're picking the series starting right now. I don't care about their lack of depth issues.
I'm just breaking this down for the viewers, okay?
Oh, they don't give a shit about the Knicks.
Yes, they do.
Jalen Brunson and the boys. 0% chance of an NBA title. 0.0.
Okay, so do the Pacers have a 0%
Oh my God,
chance.
Please. Halliburton, fucking Naismith.
Watch this.
My God, they could win. They're going straight to the championship.
Watch
now
this.
They suck
okay.
too.
Put your money where your mouth is.
No, they both suck.
No.
Horrible.
Put your money where your mouth is. Let's bet the series then.
No.
That's what he's just like Big Dog.
All right, fine then. Give me the odds. I'll take the Pacers with the odds.
There you go. He's just like Big Dog.
Why would I hold on. Why would I ever bet you on a series when I can get better odds somewhere else? Why would I do
you're
that?
retired from gambling, so you can't get better odds.
That is true. But if I'm going to bet you, then I am going to get the better odds.
No.
That would be the most retarded thing ever.
No.
You want the odds? No, I don't. Let's take it straight up.
Case of Diet Pepsi. We don't have to. No, case of Diet Pepsi. That way the odds don't matter. We're not betting money. Case of Diet Pepsi.
Yeah.
You got the Pacers. I got the Knicks.
Yeah, you owe me 2 cases of Diet Pepsi. or I owe you 1. Those are the odds.
Actually, you believe that?
You actually owe me 2.5.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, that's how this works.
Are you shitting me?
Hey, buddy, there are rules. There are rules here. This isn't nom. And they go, well, 50-50. 50-50.
This is not nom. This is bowling.
Yeah,
there are rules.
There are rules.
But I just want to say for the record, he's just like Big Dog. Because Big Dog does the exact same thing. He shoots his mouth off. Quiet. He shoots his mouth off.
No, he doesn't.
And he says,
Big Dog does. Big Dog does.
Yeah, this team's going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. And then I say, okay, put your money where your mouth is. And he won't.
And Dylan doesn't want to give him the normal odds.
He wants him
in his favorite.
To be fair, what happens is he shoots his mouth off like you do. And then, but I'll say something like, oh no, the Knicks are going to win in 5. And he'll be like, okay, you want to bet on that? And I said, yeah. I'll say, yeah, give me the odds because I'm not retired from gambling. I understand where you're coming from, but we're just betting a case of Diet Pepsi. You want fucking 27 Diet Pepsis to 12 Diet Pepsis? Yeah. That's fucking nuts. That's absolutely fucking crazy.
Those are the,
with inflation, that's like $27.
So here's the thing, Bailey. If that's actually that crazy, then why wouldn't you just go bet the Pacers?
What?
Why wouldn't you just go bet the Pacers
if
it's that crazy?
It's not that crazy. What I'm saying is I don't want to lay $2.75 for every dollar I'm betting.
Why would you? That's what I'm saying. So if you don't want to do that, then you might as well go bet on the Pacers.
Because I don't believe the Pacers are going to win just because that makes no sense. That's like saying if I don't like a bet, I should always bet the other side. That's not logical at all.
Exactly, but you're saying the exact same thing to me.
No, I'm just saying we're on a podcast, we're talking, and you said you think the Pacers are going to win the series, and I said I think the Knicks are, and you basically guaranteed it and shit on New York, and I'm defending New York here.
Oh my God.
And I said,
he's not defending New York. He doesn't like New York.
He refuses to. So all I'm saying is he doesn't truly believe.
Oh my God. I'll bet you a case of Diet Pepsi. All right, we're on.
I'm a great
negotiator. We're on. Oh, we're on.
1-1?
1-1, buddy. You got it.
I'm a great negotiator.
Just so you'll be quiet. 1-1.
I'm a great negotiator. That's what you get for shooting your mouth off.
Oh, they're going to end up winning anyway.
I'm glad you learned your lesson.
They're going to end up winning anyway.
And when they win, I'm going to put 12 Diet Pepsis up here, and I'm going to drink them.
I'm going to shotgun them up here. Don't try to shotgun a Diet Pepsi at home, folks.
That would actually probably hurt.
It hurts
quite badly.
It hurts real bad.
Have you done it?
Never tried to shotgun it, but I tried to, probably high school, middle school age. Yeah, try to chug it. Diet Pepsi will kill you.
I could chug one.
No, you can't.
I'll do it on camera.
Let's do it. Go get it.
Not right now. We don't have any Diet Pepsi. All we have, we don't have Diet Pepsi here. All we have is the HEB Diet.
Got to be ice cold Diet Pepsi.
I could do that.
All right, we'll see.
I'll do it on camera next week.
Perfect.
Right before the show. That's how we'll intro.
All right, Pacers in 6. Fuck the Knicks.
We went over our 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I tried to wrap this up in 30 seconds.
No. You denied. You refused to make the bet after shooting your mouth off.
Oh my God.
Now I'm glad I taught you a lesson. Now
you didn't teach me anything.
Now I taught you a lesson. We'll move on.
Care less.
We'll move on. Coach Lieck, teacher of history, taught Turner a lesson. All right. This is crazy, by the way. Jalen Brunson averaged 42.5 points on the road so far this playoff. That's crazy.
The Jalen Brunson dick riders are the worst people on earth.
I don't think
so good.
I don't think he's that great.
He's good.
He shoots a million shots a game.
Yes, he's a leading scorer in an NBA team. These days, every single one of them scored 30 points.
I agree.
I mean, but to me,
but he
I will say
good
this.
At the end of that series. I mean, I can't deny he had 3 straight 40-point games, and he was relatively efficient.
No. Listen, he had a great last series, last few games.
But I agree, he's overrated. I agree. He was terrible in the first 2 games. And
my whole thing is you're never going to win an NBA championship with him as your all-star.
No, you're never going to.
It's cool that they're having some success, and the Knicks aren't as worthless as they used to be.
That's very true. Okay, Knicks in 5. That's my prediction. All right, moving on. Last NBA topic real quick. The Lakers fire Darvin Ham.
Yeah.
And
everybody knew that was coming.
Everybody knew that was coming. Do you think it was warranted? Should they have fired him?
I mean, I think
it's been 2 years.
I think he's an idiot, but I don't think that. I mean, I think most of the NBA coaches are fucking idiots, and I think most of them get in the huddle and just ask LeBron James what he wants to do. So, do I think it's fair? No. Do I? But he's an idiot. So, I mean, there's 2 sides to the coin, I guess. And does anybody on earth think that Darvin Ham's an elite NBA coach? Absolutely not.
No.
Now, no, I don't think any college would necessarily hire. I mean, someone would, but like no Power 5 school is going to go out and hire Darvin Ham.
I agree with that.
He got the job because LeBron James wanted him to get the job. Now LeBron James is done with him, and he's throwing him out to the garbage like he does with all his coaches. This is how it works.
Coach that has been fired with LeBron James.
It's like a tale as old as time. I mean, it's just It's what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know who they're going to go hire. There's rumors that it's going to be fucking JJ Redick because they're friends, which is hysterical.
I've heard that, and that would be the stupidest thing I've ever.
Well,
you go and
gets
hire
whoever he wants. I mean, it doesn't matter.
But that's so crazy to me that you would mold yourself to allow him to pick the coach when he's probably got 2 years left in the NBA. Legitimately, like I just don't see him playing past 2 years. I saw a report the other day that it's no longer a priority for him to play with his son Bronny, which I don't believe. I think he still wants to. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that there were teams legitimately talking about, like, if LeBron were to go there, including the Lakers, where he already is, they would draft Bronny in the second round this year. The guy didn't even start in college for a team that was like 10th in the Pac-12.
Rachel Nichols wrote something the other day. It was like, well, maybe, I don't know how much he got paid.
No, she did not.
She was like, well, maybe it makes sense because, I mean, like, he's a big body and this and that and the other, and he is LeBron's son after all. And I was like, okay, Rachel Nichols.
That's just nuts, dude. That's just, like, you have to agree.
He just gets whatever he wants, dude. It's that simple. It's like, basically what happens is, and I get it from a business perspective. If you were to bring LeBron James in and sell all those fucking jerseys and sell out your arena, depending on who you are, you will burn a second-round draft pick on Bronny James. Yeah. Your second-round draft picks never do fucking anything in the NBA. Very rare. Yeah. They do occasionally, but it's maybe a 1 in 10, let's just say, that they work out and become a good player. I'm making up the number. Well, but Bronny James, you can draft him. You can sell Bronny and LeBron jerseys and sell out every fucking night. It makes sense for someone to do. I think it's fucking stupid, but it makes sense from a business perspective.
I mean, and like there are options they have to, like, say they picked, 20th in the second round. They could trade back to the very last pick and pick something up for that pick and then draft him last. They could not draft him and pick him up in free agency because nobody else is going to draft him.
What I would do as an opposing GM is fuck with them and take them. Take them earlier and then be like, no, I'll trade you to him for a first. And then LeBron's like, well, no, I gotta go to Orlando then because Bronny's in Orlando, and it would just be hysterical.
If I were a GM, I would say I would draft him, and then I would say I will trade you our washing machine for him. Yeah. That's what I would trade Bronny James for. Bronny James for our brand new washing machine. But yeah, I just, the only thing I would say about this is I obviously the Lakers hired Darvin Ham. They had some faith in him. They liked something about him. And I don't understand why this happens in the NBA where we just continuously fire head coaches. We saw this, like, they fired Frank Vogel, who won a championship to hire this guy. Now, I don't recognize that championship because it was in the bubble, and LeBron James he doesn't even have 3. He has 1 championship in my personal record.
Oh, my God.
Regardless, it's not like Ham had lit the world on fire. He was 90-74 as a head coach for the Lakers. He was 2-2 in playoff series, but they went to the Western Conference Finals his first year. It's kind of crazy that you think, like, oh, we're going to fire this guy after 2 years, but it's not when you put it in perspective of, like, the Bucks just did the same thing and fired a dude halfway through the season, and he was, like, in second place in the East in Adrian Griffin, and they fired a fucking championship winning coach in Mike Budenholzer, which was the stupidest move ever. Regardless, I think JJ Redick would be a horrible, horrible move, and we saw how it worked out with Steve Nash, who had never coached before.
If LeBron wants him, he'll get him.
Yeah, I'm not saying he won't. I'm saying it would be a real stupid move.
No, I don't necessarily think. I mean, you got Jeannie Buss running the Lakers, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's like, what does LeBron? I mean, it's not. Wouldn't be that shocking. I mean, they're run just about as well as the Tennessee Titans are run. So
that's a low shot.
I heard Bailey over there giggling because he knew it was coming.
Do you feel good about supporting Turner this whole podcast now since he's taking shots? Have I taken shots at your Van Bro guys yet? No, I have not. Okay, Turner's taking shots at the Titans and the Vandy.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're just talking shit about Naismith, bro.
No, I just said he hadn't made shots. That's a fact. I wasn't talking shit about him.
He's been balling.
You just took a shot at the organization.
Bailey's seen him ball, all right? Pride of Vanderbilt. I did take a shot at Darius Garland, who sucks, but Naismith, I'm a fan.
You don't even... What's his first name?
Aaron.
Oh, you fucker.
I knew it was Aaron.
You were going to say James Naismith. That's what you were going to say.
I wasn't. I actually knew it was Aaron Naismith.
Sure you did.
Most of them I don't, but I do remember him because I watched a couple games that series, and I was like, who the fuck is that guy? And he actually made some threes. They're like, he's the 6th best NBA three-point shooter in the league.
In the playoffs. I do want you to go through quickly on the NHL playoffs. Before you do that, real quick, my dumbass of the week.
Yep.
I didn't go through this. I meant to touch on it when we talked about the Bucks Pacers series, but it's Patrick Beverley. And by the way, kudos to Nick Wright for shitting on him. And Nick Wright is a fucking idiot, but he was correct. He was right, pun intended, on this one, where he shit on Patrick Beverley for basically being a guy that we talk about in the NBA despite doing nothing discernible for his entire career. Like, the guy is a career, 7-point per game average, a bench player who has been traded 6 times in 1 year, and yet, it's a guy who comes up on sports talk shows, and basically what he did was he threw a ball at a woman's head. Then the ball got tossed back to him. He threw the ball at another fan, caused an altercation. The reason he did that was apparently a fan had shouted 1, 2, 3 Cancun, but before they were going to do their huddle, like, you guys are about to lose, go to Cancun. Like, oh no, they said, you're going to lose. You're down 20 in game 6. Like, the game is over. Fucking loses his mind. And then goes out, and in the post game, they're talking to him. And this lady who's extremely well respected at ESPN and all media circles is basically standing there and asks him a question, and he basically kicks her out of the interview because she said he didn't. Well, he asked her, but he claims, like, he's like, do you subscribe to my podcast? And she says, no, I don't subscribe to your podcast. He's like, oh, you can't interview me then. Like, your shitty fucking podcast. Not that I'm one to talk, right? Like, we don't have some big podcast, but we're not over here telling reporters. I would never tell somebody that. Like, you can interview me anytime you want. Nobody wants to interview me, but they could. And Patrick Beverley is a cheap shot piece of shit. He took out Russell Westbrook his first or second year in the league. Russell Westbrook was going to call a timeout down the sideline. He dove at his knee, and Russell Westbrook tore his meniscus.
Russell had that coming.
No, it cost them the playoffs that year, and they still beat Houston, but they lost the next round. He shoved, even though I hate Chris Paul, shoved Chris Paul in the back after he lost last time. He's a sore loser. He's a complete total bitch. His podcast with Roan sucks. Neither of them know anything about basketball. But Patrick Beverley is just a guy who plays hard and is an athlete. He has no skill whatsoever. Like, he is just a good defender and a good athlete. That's made him, in the NBA for this long. Kudos to him, like Nick Wright said, for creating this persona and becoming like a guy that is in the media and people know who he is, because nobody should know who the fuck this guy is, but they do. So, dumbass of the week, Patrick Beverley. Go ahead and talk about NHL now.
I'm not going to take a shot at Pat Bev. I can't do it.
Out
of fear for my life.
You're such a fucking
weasel.
God,
okay, let's
weasel.
see
That is a good
here.
way to
What do we
describe it.
got? NHL. Stars won a big game 7 last night. Get revenge on the Knights from last season.
Fun game.
They're getting matched up with the Avs in the next round. I think the Avs are going to come out of that one. They're playing really good hockey. But the Stars, like I said, down 0-2, turned that thing around. A lot of resiliency there. Who knows? Should be a great series. Canucks, Oilers, give me Connor McDavid in that one. I just don't trust the Canucks. Should have lost to, should have been down 3-1 to should have been 2-2 with Nashville, and Nashville blew a 2-goal lead like in 30 seconds, I think. That turned the series on its head. Canucks are a good team, but they won the last game 1-0. Haven't been able to get anything on offense going. Goalie's been making a lot of saves. Oilers probably have too much with McDavid, Draisaitl, and that group. Probably going to move on there. In the East, we got the Panthers, Bruins. I like the Panthers to come out of the Bruins. Just had a hard-fought series with the Maple Leafs. Went 7 games. Another great series. Swayman has been phenomenal for the Bruins, their goalie, stopping everything. Panthers, just a better team this year. Panthers also ended up beating them in the playoffs last year when the Bruins blew that 3-1. Almost blew another 3-1 lead to the Leafs, but didn't. Got through it. Rangers, Hurricanes, only series that started. Rangers up 1-0. Tonight it's at MSG again, and they actually have Carolina favored in the game. So I think the odds makers actually had Carolina favored in the series, which I think I told you yesterday. I thought Carolina would win the series. I think they're a better overall team, but down 1-0, really need to get a win tomorrow night to even that series
Wait
up.
a second. Hold on. The Rangers play Carolina tonight?
No, tomorrow night. They
Okay.
played last night.
That's what I was thinking. 'cause
Or
I was thinking
yesterday. Yeah.
The Knicks play at home tonight.
No,
I was
no,
like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
cra-
yeah.
I was like, what does that mean?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Quick question. Well, real quick. First of all, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup? If you had to pick right now, who?
I'm going to take, man, it's harder on that side. I'm gonna go Avs Panthers Stanley Cup.
And who wins?
I would like to see how they're playing going into that. But right now I would say the Avs got a tougher road having to go through the Stars and I would say the Panthers lost last year in the Stanley Cup. Panthers win the Stanley Cup this year with Bobrovsky.
Okay.
He's been making a lot of saves. He looks really good. Like I said, the Bruins-Panthers series is going to be, both the goalies are playing out of their minds right now, so it's going to be interesting. But the Bruins just haven't been able to get anything going offensively. Like, they ended up winning that game against Toronto, didn't score for 2.5 periods, tied it, won in overtime. And that was kind of like Toronto, who's lost 7 straight Game 7s now, which is hard to believe. They're just perennial chokers. They go out and choke that game away.
Up 1 with 10 minutes to go.
And no one else has scored that game. It's classic. Always happens in hockey. It's like if someone scores and there hadn't been a goal, it's like the next goal somehow just always comes out of nowhere. It just seems like that was never in 1-0, right? So, but should be fun. The playoffs have been a lot of fun to watch so far this year.
No, they've been a blast. I actually don't know if there's anything better than a Game 7 overtime hockey game where it's just next goal, the winner goes on and the loser's out. That's so much fun. We had that in Bruins Maple Leafs. Went to overtime, winner moves on, the next one to score goes on, the loser's done for the year. That was awesome. I just had this question when I was writing my notes for this show, and I think it's important since we don't have a ton more to talk about. I have a few more things I want to mention, but we have this, I think the one thing that I think is appealing and the reason that I like hockey overtime in the playoffs is in the playoffs for hockey, if you're unfamiliar with it, they play golden goal, right? Like
sudden death.
Sudden death, next goal wins. But they will play as many overtimes as necessary to get that done. So if nobody scores in the first overtime, nobody scores in the second overtime, they just keep playing it up. They put another 20 minutes on the clock and they play till somebody scores. And we've seen games that have gone to triple overtime, in recent past in the playoffs. It's crazy. The games can go super long, but that's how hockey is. And hockey has that, notion of being a very tough sport and they're going to do whatever necessary to win. And that's how it goes. But you've seen the other sports, major sports, transition to more of a, like, let's make this end quickly type deal, right? Like baseball has gone to the put a runner on second base. By the way, do they do that in the playoffs still?
No.
Okay, well, I like that. But they put a runner on second base to start overtime. We have college football is the worst to me, where after 2 overtimes, you go to a 2-point conversion fest. It's so dumb.
Because the Aggie LSU game, after that, they changed it.
That was the most fun game ever.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would take that away. And at least if you're going to do it in reality, what it should be is it should be at least, I think it should be either 3 or 4 overtimes before you even get there. Like to just do 2 overtimes and then it's a 2-point conversion fest is kind of wild to me. I just don't know how you decide a football game, especially because they don't change it like baseball and hockey do for the playoffs, right? Like if the national championship, like Alabama, Michigan in the semifinal, if that one was tied after the first 2 overtimes, we're determining who goes to the national championship on a 2-point conversion fest. That's wild. That's crazy. And then we've seen tennis translate to this as well. I don't know that it was every major, but a couple of the majors for sure, Wimbledon, they would win by 2 the final set, regardless of how many games it took. And obviously, similar to how it happened in college football with A&M and LSU, we had the Isner-Mahut legendary match that was 70-68 that went over 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
Which I get that's extreme.
I got the rule change for sure.
It would be nice to be like, okay, well, you play if it gets to 14-all, then
and
we
I
just
think
go
that's
to
what Wimbledon does. It's I think it's 12. You play like a double set. So if it gets to 12,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they changed it. So if it gets to 12 all, then you go to the breaker.
But it
happened between Kevin. You can probably look it up as Kevin Anderson and God, who was he playing? It went 12-12, and you went to. They used to just play forever.
But did they change it ever? Like right after they changed the rule, did they go straight to that, or did they go to just like a regular 10-point tiebreak?
No. So the French, I can't remember how it all goes. So the U.S. Open always had the tiebreak. The Australian, I believe, had the 10-point tiebreak. That was their deal, and then it moved. The U.S. Open does the 10, the Australian does the 10. And I think all of them do it now, but I think at least in Wimbledon, let's see.
It should be uniform across all the majors, in my opinion. Like, I understand they're kind of their own entity. I get it. Like, that's kind of how a lot of those sports work. But, like, to me, it should just be, okay, if at the U.S. Open, it's going to be 10-point tiebreaker at 6-all or at 10-all, whatever. It should just be the same for all the majors. I don't agree with having different ones for different majors. That makes zero sense to me. Also, just while we're on the subject, I think the women should play at best of 5 in the majors as well. I don't see why they don't. They have there's no difference in stamina. Like, that makes no sense to me. But are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. This is maybe everybody maybe they have gone to the
it's fine.
Uniform matches that reach 6-6 in the final set will now be decided by a 10-point tiebreak. I think that switched in SA. Okay, in 2022.
Okay,
but they did for a while. It was like a hybrid one where they would go to a certain number. Because I remember it. But yeah, maybe they've all gone to the 10-point tiebreak now. Right. Finally, uniform, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna talk real quick. We only have about 15 minutes left. So NFL, I wanted to mention something just because I was kind of looking through the things that happened this week. Obviously, we had the draft. We talked about that last week, winners and losers of the draft. The Chargers, I think, are an interesting team to talk about. Obviously, we know Harbaugh goes there after they fire Brandon Staley. That's one of the best divisions in football, I think, or at least from a quarterback perspective. You have 2 of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league in that same, maybe top 8 in the same division. But the Chargers, I want to get your take on this. They signed DJ Chark yesterday to their wide receiver room. They drafted Ladd McConkey early in the second round to add. So their wide receivers on their roster now are Joshua Palmer, Quentin Johnson, who is awful, Ladd McConkey, they add DJ Chark, and then they have Simi Fehoko and Darius Davis. Did the Chargers make a big mistake here letting both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams go? Because it seems to me like that's a really thin receiver room for a really good quarterback, and it's going to be a tough passing year for Justin Herbert. What do you think?
It's definitely going to be tougher for him, but I don't know. I think I almost want to put Justin Herbert in that pedigree where I think he's pretty damn good and can kind of do it with anybody. And I think Shark, whatever his name is, DJ Shark, he is, just your serviceable NFL receiver, right? Nothing special.
No, not at all.
And then, I think this year it's going to be tough with him. I think if Herbert stays healthy, he can win with, hodgepodge group of guys. I think he's still going to be able to do that, but sure, it would help him if he had a bona fide number one.
Well,
I just think, I don't know what happened with I would have to look at it. I don't know what happened with the cap room, why they didn't keep the guys, that they couldn't keep the guys. I don't exactly know what happened.
Well,
didn't they pay?
They lost Eckler as well.
Yeah.
And didn't they lose Bosa? Or did they keep Bosa?
I think they had to keep him. If they lost that many people, they had to keep him.
Maybe they lost Khalil Mack. Maybe that's who they lost. Yeah. They lost Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
But
so I don't know what happened. I don't know if
it was a cap thing. Yeah. They paid all those guys. They couldn't afford to keep them. But to me, I just think it's so crazy that they lost Mike Williams. That was the weird one to me. He's relatively young. Okay, I get it. Like
injury prone.
Right, but not like Keenan Allen injury prone. Like, yes, this was like his first like major injury, but he's a favorite target of Justin Herbert. They've had a lot of success together. I don't know. Just kind of weird to me. You look at that, like that's the worst wide receiver room in the entire NFL, in my opinion. I mean, Josh Palmer's your number one guy, really? Joshua Palmer? That guy was like a fourth guy last year.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And it's not like they lost Eckler as well. Like, you lose all your offensive weapons. I don't quite understand what they're doing here.
Seems like kind of they're trying, it just seems like a rebuild.
Yeah, but
they're obviously hoping that Quentin Johnston figures it out.
I think he's horrible. I'm sorry. He's showed nothing to make me think he's going to be good. But they do. Oh, they still have Khalil Mack. Oh, they restructured his deal. Okay, I don't know. They must have just kept those guys and got rid of the offensive guys.
I mean,
But-
Keenan Allen is getting a little bit older now, and he's always hurt. And Mike Williams, they probably just made the decision, he's coming off a big injury.
Right.
We're not going to pay him a bunch of money, so we're going to let him go, and then they're going to hope, these receivers turn out to be serviceable and they can move the ball. We'll see. I agree with you. Not a good wide receiver room, though. I mean, I'm not certainly not arguing that. I mean, it's not.
The Bills added Chase Claypool to pair with their rookie draft pick, who we did both like, in Keon Coleman.
That was a great pick.
Did you see his
Claypool? I don't know. No one. It's weird. People always trade for Claypool and they end up on this team, and then he never plays. It's bizarre.
I know, it makes no sense. They needed to add somebody.
Yeah.
That was an interesting ad. I don't know if that's the right ad.
No. I mean, it's just he seems like he's bounced around 10 different places.
And he's never been even where he didn't he start in Pittsburgh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even in Pittsburgh, he had one good year. He's never been. I don't know. They're all going off this 1 year of this is his ceiling. Maybe he'll get back to that. I just don't see it.
I guess if you can get him for real cheap, why not try it? Who knows?
Yeah, but I do think it's funny. Did you see Keon Coleman's draft interview where he said so he was with the Bills in there and they showed it and it's got it's all everybody in there, and they go, what do you like to do for fun? He's like, oh, go bowling and watch TV. He goes, golfing. He said something else, and somebody goes, you like to golf? And it sounded, by the way, very racist there. But he goes, oh yeah. He goes, no, I ain't saying I'm no Tiger Woods. He goes, I'm Tiger wish he could, not Tiger Woods. He's like, I wish I could do that. And everybody's dying fucking laughing. He's like, I mean, these guys shooting 5 under. He's like, it takes me 5 putts to get in the hole, but I just like going out there, have fun. He goes, you can't get mad because if you try to swing, you get mad, you pull a muscle in your back. So you got to be patient. And he goes, I just go out there and have fun. But you could tell he's a very personable guy. And
he was talking about his jacket. Some guy was asking him if it was designer. He's like, hell no, this is Burlington Coat Factory, man. $79.90. You got to buy, because I learned from my mom, you got to buy jackets in the summer. He goes, when you get ready, he goes, I'm going to have to go to Burlington and get me 6 of these, or Buffalo. He was cracking everybody up.
I like
They're
him.
like, this guy's great.
But one more thing on the football front. UFL. I just want to mention this because I thought it was funny. We watched a game. We watched the Brahmas together, who unfortunately lost. They're 4-2, still in the playoff hunt. Probably going to make the playoffs. There's still, I believe,
there's only two games left. Right? They play 8.
Is that how many they play?
I think so.
So I think if they win one of the last 2, they should be okay to get in. That would make them 5-3. I think. Well, DC's now 3-3, so they're only 1 game ahead of DC. I think they split the games. Make sure that's 8.
I'm gonna look it up.
I think it might be 10. Actually,
that makes more sense.
I think it's 10 because I think I don't think you play everybody twice, but I think it's 10 games. So I wanted to bring this up because from a football perspective,
10. Yeah, it makes more
sense. 10 games. So
but here's the problem. We got the Roughnecks the next week.
That's a win.
Followed by Arlington, which should be a win.
Those are 2 wins.
Well, if we get through, those are 2 wins. But then we
back.
get Birmingham and St. Louis. The only good thing they have going for
them
is
great.
But St. Louis will already have everything locked up by that point when they play. So, I mean,
Birmingham already clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So they might have the number 1. If St. Louis loses another game going into Birmingham, they might have everything. They might have the 1 seed locked up at that point.
Yep.
But I did want to mention this because it's something we talked about yesterday watching the Brahmas. And by the way, the Brahmas need to get, I forget, Gerber's back, their quarterback, because what's the guy's name? That's the backup.
Dormandy.
God, Dormandy from Tennessee. Absolute. Yeah, he's horrific. I mean, so fucking bad. I had won a big bet on the Cavs yesterday, and so I put a few bucks, like a fourth of what I won, on the fucking Brahmas to win the game outright, and they threw up all over themselves. Yeah, I mean, it's just guaranteed. They were horrible.
You were there for the Butch Jones years? And the Butch?
Oh, Jeremy Pruitt. Yeah, anyway, UFL, we got to get Bailey and Mike because I forget. Especially when Big Dog's not here, I'm just going to bring my little mic stand and we're going to put the mic over there so he can talk back and forth with us so I can have the audio and it's entertaining anyway. But in a UFL Kickers, dude, what the fuck is up with that? You mentioned that they're probably going to be really good, but this is crazy how good they were. Jake Bates, He already had a walk-off 64-yard field goal in week 1, right? Yesterday goes 5 of 5 on field goals. Another walk-off, much shorter.
Some of them were
kick.
for 50, though.
He had one from 60 yesterday.
Yeah. He's going to be, like we called it, we were trying to go through, like, spots you could end up, and I was like, yeah, he's going to take the younger Carlson's job at in Green Bay.
No, actually, I said that.
No, you said that. I
said the younger Carlson. You said Green Bay is where he's going to end up. I didn't even know he was in Green Bay.
Yeah.
That's why you said
what I was saying. Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I think that's where. I think that's where he was. He was missing kicks.
I think
you're
right.
There's like 5 kickers that guy's definitely way better.
Way better.
I mean, you got Randy Bullock doing fucking, cameos when people get hurt in the NFL. Randy Bullock fucking sucks. Like, get that guy out there kicking.
He's terrible. But listen to this stat.
Wide right Bullock.
Listen to this stat. Kickers through 6 games in the UFL this year overall, 89 of 103 on field goals, 86.4%. NFL kickers in 2023, 85.9%.
Here's the one question. Here's the one question I will have, and I don't know because I haven't been paying attention. Are they NFL uprights or not?
No, I believe they are because they played in. I know they played in one NFL stadium.
I'm just curious if they are. I'm going to look it up.
They play at Ford Field for the Michigan Panthers. So I'm pretty sure the field goals are the same as the NFL. I mean, everything else is the same as the NFL, so I would assume it is. But if that is the case, which I'm pretty sure it is, the best year in NFL history for kickers was 2013. And that year was 86.5%, and kickers in the UFL this year so far are 86.4%, 0.1% lower. That's how good they've been. Now, I understand, right? The pressure's a little bit different, right? You have a lot more screaming fans. Yeah. But in terms of like every other position you look at statistically, it's not even close to the NFL, and the talent they're playing against is much worse. But with kickers, everything is going to be the same in terms of like you're just kicking the ball through the uprights.
That's like the Cowboys kicker. What is it, Aubrey, who just like didn't miss, and they were like asking about the pressure. He's like, "I'm just go there and kick the ball through the upright." I mean, the thing is, like, once you get it down, and you were like a big time, because I think he was a pretty big time soccer player, borderline like really good pro soccer player.
Yeah,
and he's just like, I mean, I have plenty of time to get the kickoff, and I'm just kicking it through something like this wide. It's easy, whatever, but. Yeah, he just didn't seem to feel the pressure. But some of those guys, I mean, of course they would. But yeah, that Bates guy was just, I mean, I think him and there's another kicker that have just kicked like several 60-yard field goals and 59-yard field goals like it's no problem. Crazy. And I was like, that ball's got to be juiced. It's just flying through the uprights.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild how good they've been. Small sample size, but I'm curious to see how that continues. No kicker has missed more than 2 field goals of any kicker in the NFL.
Yeah.
Or of the UFL, rather. Last couple things. Caitlin Clark, first preseason game. Turner loves that we're going to include this in the last 4 minutes of the show.
She's out of college. We're done with Caitlin Clark.
Listen.
She needs to be retired from the fucking show.
Listen.
Your mom's going to see this and be so mad.
Listen.
You need to follow her WNBA career.
I'm going to clip this for her and show her that you said that. The blasphemy. No. I bought my mom a WNBA League Pass for an early Mother's Day present so she could watch the preseason game. By the way, sold out WNBA preseason game.
There's no doubt. I believe it.
Sold out.
I believe it. I thought we were going to get away with, I thought that when she left Iowa, she was just going to ride off.
Fuck,
and just
I'm never letting this
have her little career. And like, I mean, now I'm on ESPN right now and I'm scrolling down and it says play women's fantasy basketball. And I'm like, Dylan, his mom, they're all going to be on there.
Damn straight. No, I would never stoop that low. But I mean, it's just like who gets the number 1 overall pick wins. Whoever gets Caitlin Clark is an automatic winner. So she started the game 3 for 3 from 3, by the way. Finished with 21 points.
And then went 1 for her next 11.
No, not 1 for her next 11. She was 1 for her next 8. She did drop that girl. And everybody, by the way, so many Twitter haters. It's actually funny how much of a dividing figure she's become. Like, it's become a racial issue online. Like,
really?
Black people dislike her because she gets all the attention because she's white, and white people are annoyed that black people don't like her because, and they say it's because she's white. It's a back and forth thing. I don't know. All I know is people who dislike her are just haters, obviously, because she's phenomenal. And
yeah, like maybe the misconception with me is I don't dislike her. I just don't want to talk about her. But I don't have anything against Caitlin Clark.
Sure.
I don't want to talk about her. I mean, I'm glad that she's like, you're saying that it's a white delegation thing, that she's out there balling like she, but I'm just saying, I just don't care.
For a fact Wait, hold on. Why don't you want to talk about it?
Oh, by the way, speaking of, let's just skip past Caitlin Clark because no one
wait,
cares. We had Bailey on one of the side TVs. We had the NASCAR race on, and it was decided by 0.001 seconds. And Dylan's pausing it, looking at the deal, and there's like a false line. And Dylan thought there was a.
It was a false line.
No, it really was. The line went out further.
Kyle Larson won.
Bailey's favorite racer, Kyle Larson. Hey, you know who he is, Bailey.
Look him up later.
Yeah.
But back to this other issue, real quick. Why don't you like to talk about Caitlin Clark? Just I want to know the reason.
Because I didn't mind like at Iowa, as far as like women's basketball at Iowa, like when it was in the tournament, it was fun with them like talking about LSU. But that we're gonna try to actually make the WNBA relevant, dude. I'm just not about it. I don't. But fucking care.
You had this hate before. You had this hate in your heart way before the WNBA.
I mean, I don't like watching women's basketball.
Okay, so is it women's basketball or women's sports?
No, I'm fine with women's sports. You know that.
Because this motherfucker yesterday, he was watching, he told me on Saturday he was fucking watching the volleyball.
You said you were watching it before me.
I was, but I don't have a problem with women's sports. It was entertaining.
No, because like 2-on-2, we talked about this. 2-on-2 sand volleyball, like even at the Olympics, is very entertaining. When they do it in college and they have them all going at the same time for the national championship and there's something going on this court, something going on this court, it's great. It's much more entertaining than watching Caitlin Clark shoot 35 threes. I don't care if Caitlin Clark makes 15 threes. It just doesn't bring any joy to me.
You just don't find that appealing.
I don't.
I do.
I really don't.
Just don't understand.
Like I said, in college, I could kind of understand it because of the tournament. Now, I was never watching anything in the regular season. My God, I have a little respect for yourself. But when they got into the tournament, it became a little entertaining. It's like, oh, can Caitlin Clark beat LSU? Can Caitlin Clark beat South Carolina? Like it was, must-watch TV, and the ratings showed that. I'm not disregarding it. I know she sells out arenas. I know she's the new big happening thing, but I'm not going to watch it.
Would you rather, we're just getting started.
No, I know. They're going to have, like, what I told you. It was like 30 out of the 30, whatever game, 30 out of the 32 games are supposed to be on, like, that's why I was like, why the hell did y'all get NBA? Because I heard that it's all going to be on NBA TV.
For the 4 games that she's not going to be on there.
Oh, my God.
That's why. And this
is the Big Lebowski moment right here. Walter's like, has the whole world gone crazy?
Like, doesn't anybody give a shit about the rules? Market zero. But would you rather watch NASCAR than Caitlin Clark play basketball?
The last 10 laps. Oh, God. The last 10 laps.
Awful, man.
The last 10 laps are way more entertaining. You even agreed yesterday.
No,
you're over here going like this.
Not the last 10 laps, the very last lap.
The last 10 laps take 10 minutes. And you're over here. You're the one that stopped the remote and you're inspecting the finish line.
Because the specific finish line was off, which you admitted.
But
that's
I will say,
when I'm watching a race and it's like, okay, we're going to determine who wins this fucking race, and the line isn't fucking straight.
It was pretty funny.
No sense.
It was pretty funny that one of the teams, like, I forgot who, I don't even know the name of the drivers except the guy that won. But the guy that got second, his team was all celebrating like they won.
Brutal.
And me and you were like, did he win? I was like, I don't know. I think so. And then we looked at it and they're like, the guy was like starting to do donuts and his team was going crazy. And they're like, oh, wait, you lost. The other guy
They were throwing champagne and shit, and they just all of a sudden stopped.
It was funny.
They were like,
another much more important than WNBA too. Formula One, Lando Norris gets his first win yesterday in Miami. Far, far more important than WNBA.
I like Formula One. I
like Formula One way better. I don't watch NASCAR ever. Like I said, unless I'm scrolling through, there's 10 laps to go. There's usually wrecks. I can't watch 400 laps of that. But the problem with Formula One, like we discussed, love Formula One. Verstappen wins 90% of the time, and when he wins, it's by 43 seconds. And you're just like, okay, well, there goes Max just going around the track. It's a cool sport, but it just typically there's no great finishes.
All right. That wraps up our show for today. We had a hard deadline at 12:30. We hit 12:32. How about that? That's pretty good.
His big dog already like blowing up Bailey, like, get him out, get him out. That's fucking hysterical.
Fucking sociopath, man. He's an absolute sociopath.
What a genius.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment. Let us know what we should name our racehorse. Let us know what you think about NASCAR versus Caitlin Clark.
First of all, that's not an argument.
Who's going to win?
I don't like NASCAR.
Who's going to win? Turner likes NASCAR. Who's going to win the Pacers-Knicks series? We have a Diet Pepsi bet on it. I got Turner to admit to it. I taught him a lesson.
Genius.
Taught him a lesson.
He wouldn't shut up. We were going to go over our time, which we did, and he's going to get he's got a 66% chance of getting
Not according to you. Not according to you. It's
Oh,
not
no.
66. See, that's the reason. Your real odds are different than the actual odds. Now,
Pacers by 1 billion.
we do have
Aaron
a couple.
Naismith.
I'm not gonna
Friend of the
mention
podcast.
we have not confirmed 100%, but we have some cool guests coming on the show soon. Some college football players. I'll leave it at that. So we've got a couple of guests coming on soon. Fans of the podcast, watch the podcast. We're fans of them. So hopefully we'll get them on within the next couple weeks. That'll be fun. I think there'll be remote interviews, but I'm not 100% sure yet. One of them might be in person. One of them will definitely be remote, but we'll see.
The return of Big Dog next week.
He's not coming back on the
Mark
show.
your calendars.
Nope.
He's back, folks. He's
Thanks
back.
for tuning in. That's episode 32. Signing out.
Big Dog's back. Sam Hazelwood. You tell Sam Hazelwood to shut the fuck up. I hope you get that on camera. Sam, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to run a fucking podcast here, and I got your fucking text messages coming through about Nuggets 218. I don't give a fuck what the total is. I'm trying to fucking work. You fucking release that to Sam. Love you, Sam. If Sam's an everyday listener, you got to put that in. You just at least send that clip to him.
He 100% listens to this. He's a supporter of the podcast. Okay?
At least send that clip to him. Actually, you should just make sure he's watching the podcast and put it in there. And if he doesn't notice it at all, I'll be like, wow, dude, you didn't see Turner's fucking rant going after you.
He 100% would notice it. He'd watch it. It'd be the start of the podcast.